Right then, hello everyone and welcome back to the Assetto Corsa Offline Championship here for round number 14 of the 2020 Formula 1 World Championship. We are here back at the Bahrain International Circuit for the Bahrain Grand Prix, and it is so good to be back here with Formula 1 as we're here for the three final rounds of the season. 12 minutes of qualifying just ahead of us, with Enes Parachki being the first man out on track. My name is Miran FG in the commentary booth today, and joining me for the Bahrain Grand Prix, it will be Jamie. Good afternoon to you.
Thank you very much, Maran. I've heard very exciting things about the Formula 2 round, which happened with Eric Alderberg winning that race very comfortably indeed, which will keep his championship hopes almost in the bag at the moment. And here we're in a similar fashion here with Jesper Hansen can also clinch the championship here mathematically here in this Bahrain Grand Prix, which will be very exciting to see indeed. And we'll see if all that will pan out here for this qualifying session here as we start qualifying 1.
Yes, indeed, it is going to be very, very interesting as Enes Parachki, who, mind you, is now a championship contender, will start his lap. Let's go through the track. So the Bahrain International Circuit, located in the Sakir region of Bahrain, was first opened in 2004 and cost a total of $150 million to build. The track, which was designed by the infamous German track architect Hermann Tilke, has been a staple of the Formula 1 calendar, remains loved by many. The track, which was sanctioned by the royal family of Bahrain, has hosted Formula 1 ever since 2004, with a break in 2011 due to civil unrest in the country of Bahrain. But the track has hosted many different racing series as well, bar Formula 1. Things like the 6 Hours of Bahrain in the World Endurance Championship. There's been WTCR, FIA GT, Formula 2 and 3, and generally just a bunch of different series over the years. It's been a very, very popular track for a lot of racing series to come to. And I think, judging from both ACOC and real life, it really goes to show why. But the layout, which is the Grand Prix circuit, is 5.4 kilometers long, 15 turns, and a race lap record of a 1:31.4 set all the way back in 2005. But we should expect faster lap times, obviously, as Enes Parachki has slotted in his lap a 1:30.3 from the Macedonians. The times are now coming in on the board. But the track, which I have always said to be one of my favorite tracks in motorsporting as a whole, features a lot of brilliant overtaking opportunities, a lot of high and low speed corners, challenging for the driver and a car as a whole. And yeah, you can see where every year we always have fantastic battles around the Bahrain International Circuit. But yeah, I've laid my opinion. What about you, Jamie? What do you make of the track?
Well, it's given that the nature of this track here and the amount of races that it has produced here in ACOC history, it's actually no surprise that it's been an iconic staple in terms of Middle East racing, especially for ACOC F1 since 2017. Jesper Johansson and Dennis Graf are former race winners here in the Bahrain Grand Prix, and some of them did not actually come for pole position, which means that this is one of the tracks here where pole position doesn't actually guarantee you even a podium place here at this track as well. Another one of these drivers as well being current Super Formula driver FG as well. He went on to win this race as well. Jesper Johansson, Enes Parachki, meanwhile, is the only of the title contenders here for to clinch the 2020 championship. Has not actually won the Bahrain Grand Prix here, and has got 2 attempts to do it here, and what a way to do it in front of your teammate as well. So could be a good chance for Enes Parachki to show what he's made of.
Yes, indeed. We'll see what he is going to be able to do as all the guys are coming across the line now to set their first laps. A lot of midfield teams have announced upgrades for Bahrain, while a lot of the top teams seem to have stalled on their They seem to have stalled on their upgrades, especially teams like Red Bull and Mercedes. So we could see the midfield getting a bit closer in these final 3 rounds of the season. And I think it goes to show at the moment, as all the 20 times are on the board, and your bottom 5 at the moment will be Laban Zasnishkai, followed by Daniel Wale, Kai Cherezhnia, Josef Frederic Schuto, or Emilia Konishina. So yeah, a pretty interesting bottom 5 then at the moment. I think a few of these guys might have had maybe some poor laps, or maybe traffic, or maybe a mistake on their push laps, especially the likes of Cherezhnia and Zasnishkai. As there goes Daniel Wale up into 9th. Nicely done there from him to get himself out of the elimination zone. That pushes Jafari Blackwood into the elimination zone. But yeah.
We're going to lightly gloss over that Julie Sassetti, who's always been a backrunner for Williams, is sitting in an impressive 14th for Williams, actually. So that upgrade has pretty much done wonders for one of the drivers, and the other one is not actually quite hopeless, as he's actually on par with the Alfa Romeo of Kazuchika and Kai Cherezhnia even.
Yeah, Chisetti doing very, very well currently, as Zasnishka and Cherezhnia both go across the line, 16th and 17th for them, as Blackwood shuffles down 2 positions. There's Samet Özkan into 9th, but yeah, Chisetti, albeit she's doing very, very well in the Williams, this is not the first time she'll be outside the elimination zone. I believe it was the first race of the season where she got herself out of Q1. So she has made a Q2 appearance this season, as Fernando Tost goes up into 7th now, ahead of Thomas Mandic. Jesper Johansson leads Dennis Pratsky at the top of the table at the moment. You've got Lewis McIntyre there in P5 as well, doing very, very well. I think Racing Point seem to be lagging behind a bit, considering Mandic is only 8th and Cherezhnia currently is in 17th. Hopefully this round will not be the end of Cherezhnia's run of good form recently.
Yeah, it's good form. Yeah, he's only had run retirements at the past, I think it was like 5-6 races, and he has been performing his teammate Mandic, or on par with him at least. But yeah, I don't think, given that the current nature that we've seen of Racing Point throughout the season, that they are a qualifying one eliminated car, and neither are the drivers as well. So I'm sure that maybe they'll be able to pick up the pieces as well. As Kai Cherezhnia there he goes, he improves and gets himself onto 13th, and now it's gone up into 7th as well.
Yeah, good stuff from Cherezhnia. That should get him safe for at least a bit. As Victor Albom, who currently is 12th at the moment, is doing quite well for himself there. Yes. As he currently is out of the elimination zone. There across the line goes Fernando Tost, and up into 4th goes the Polish driver in the McLaren with a 130.4. He gets himself ahead of Dennis Graf.
Pretty impressive there from the McLaren driver for the Polish driver. Pretty impressive, actually. That I think this might be the first time that we've seen a McLaren actually break the mold of the Red Bulls and the Mercedes, I think, in a qualifying session so far. We've seen it with Renault, we've seen it with Racing Point, but we have not yet seen it with McLaren. So that's pretty good there for Fernando Tost to show that it can be on par there with those 2 teams. So it's good he's got 4th.
Yeah, well, yeah, I guess you have to take in mind as well that this is only Q1, so a lot of the top teams are definitely holding back on their performances. As we're now looking at Giulia Chisetti, just on the edge of the elimination zone. This track is where she made her debut in Formula 1 4 years ago with Toro Rosso. Now comes back to the Bahrain International Circuit with Williams as she heads down the back straight and into the 2 final corners. Let's see if Chisetti's going to be able to muster up an improvement here.
Yeah, she's holding on to that 15th position by a fraction of seconds, 3 thousandths of a second, and she could be under threat here because Gamba and Sesnichkai both have got better aerodynamics and a better car as well than Chisetti does. But and Fernando Tost gets professional.
And Tost goes fastest in Q1 in the McLaren. That is impressive from Fernando Tost. Albeit it is only Q1 and it doesn't really matter. It's still a very, very good showing of pace from McLaren here at Bahrain.
Yeah, absolutely as well. That's a real big surprise. That shows that McLaren are indeed the big winners of this upgrades overhaul in Bahrain as well. Dennis Graf, meanwhile, he gets himself up into third, gets himself a bit closer to Jesper Johansson, but Enes Perachki is still not to be outdone at the moment here with 1 minute left of qualifying, 1 to go.
Yeah, we'll see what's going to happen in this final minute. Laban Zasnishka is in the pit lane at the moment in 17th, so he is out of qualifying. That is a massive shock for the Serbian, as Ferrari seem to maybe be lagging behind a bit on their pace.
Yeah, we'll see if Franco Gamba could do any. He gets himself an improvement. It's very, very minimal, and that will put Sassetti down into the drop zone.
Yeah, we'll see what Chisetti's going to be able to do then, as she's going to go across the line. It will not be an improvement for Giulia Chisetti, yet the Italian is going to manage another lap. What about Emilia Konnichina? Konnichina does improve, but it will be last for the Alfa Romeo driver, unfortunately for her. So I think it's safe to say she is going to be knocked out as Kulasek goes across the line, but the Czech driver has been held up there as the checkered flag has now fallen, and Dennis Graf is going to be the first man across the line.
Yeah, he's currently in third. It was a very good improvement there. If he can muster any more improvements there, he could be able to get provisional pole at the end of qualifying 1. He actually doesn't. He actually heads into the pits. So apart from him and Enes Perachki, I'd say Fernando Tost has got a very good chance of gain a provisional pole here for qualify 1, and what a way to bolster up to the McLaren spirits as well for the midfield charge as well.
Indeed, it'll be very, very interesting to see what is going to happen here, as Kai Shereshnia will be next across the line from P14 in the grid at the moment. He will go through, but I think he's going to want a bit more safety and to be able to ensure that he's going to make it through. Apparently not, as he comes into the pit lane. What about Franco Gamba, who is going to go across the line? What can Gamba do? It is P10 for Franco, and that is going to knock Giulia Chisetti into the elimination zone unless she's able to improve on this lap. She's going to go across the line, and unfortunately for Chisetti, it is no improvement. What about Emilia Konnichina? Konnichina goes up at the 19th, but she is out.
Yeah, 1/10 quicker than Joseph Frederick Sito, but alas, it will not be enough for him. Her West Magic goes ahead, crosses the line, does not change any positions. Franco Gamba, I believe. I think he's already did his time, didn't he?
I do believe he has, so I guess we're just waiting for the... we are just waiting for the checkered flag to fall. As there it is. And Q1 done and dusted. Fernando Tost takes the fastest spot from Jesper Johansson. And your bottom 5 will be Giulia Chisetti, followed by Laban Zasnishkai, Jafari Blackwood, Emilia Konnichina, and Josef Frederik Schuto. So then, that's Q1 over. Fernando Tost is certainly not the man we were expecting to be fastest this session.
Oh, absolutely not. But it's a very good surprise that we've seen that now we can see McLaren is actually going to be challenging up for the front runners for the leads. And as I've said before, we've seen it before with Renault in the French Grand Prix. We've seen it before with Racing Point in Mugello and Malaysia. So it's good to see McLaren is actually going to be picking up the pace. And what a way to do it in the penultimate rounds. It will surely help them for their midfield constructors battle as well.
Yes, indeed. It'll be really interesting to see what McLaren can pull out heading into Q3, but one man who I have to say we do feel for Laban Zasnishka down to 17th, especially considering his recent point-scoring finishes with Ferrari at the Portuguese and Mexican Grand Prix. It is a bit of a shame to see him knocked out in 17th, but we'll see what his teammate Farina can pull out here at Bahrain.
Yeah, it's really is a bit of a shame to see Ferrari kind of dwindle so much that now seems a Q1 seems a bit of almost a certainty for one of the drivers to get knocked out, which is a bit of a shame because both of them are very capable of the equipment that they're given. But we'll see if Luca Farina can do what Lamborghini did a couple of races ago whenever he was eliminated in Q1 and maybe get that Ferrari into Q3.
Yeah, we'll see what they will be able to do. As Q1 is Q2 is underway, Daniel Wale will be the first man out, a race winner at this track last season in Formula 2, obviously. He won the opening round of the F2 season in 2019 and would go on to win the round after as well at Barcelona. So good memories at this track for Daniel, and we'll see if his F2 performances will be anything to go by here in F1.
Yeah, we shall see. I mean, experience here, it does actually play a big role here in succeeding in this track as well, which is kind of why we it's almost kind of a certainty that Jesper Johansson does will probably battle out for the race win here. Although the addition of Fernando Tost is a surprise to us all, but it was qualifying 1, but we shall see if that McLaren can still hold up in qualifying 2 and 3 at least. But it is good to have experience and to have success in this track because it will help boost your confidence and will help you maintain a very good line and get yourself some very good pace, which is what this track is all about.
Indeed, we'll see what we'll see if things will stay as they are or if we'll have a pretty big upset in qualifying. So we'll see what's going to happen as we'll now go on board with Daniel Wale, 4 lap of the Bahrain International Circuit. So across the line there, heading down the very, very long start-finish straight then into turn number 1, sharp braking zone then, to try and hit the curb and set your line right through turns 2 and 3. As we saw in the Formula 2 race just earlier today, you can have fantastic battles through these corners then into the second sharp braking zone, turn number 4. Easy to run wide here, but yeah, want to make sure you not do that. Then through turns 5 and 6, a downhill chicane. Very, very tricky set of corners then as you head into turn number 8. Then down this little straightaway into turn number 9. And then the fearsome blind left-hander of turn number 10 as you use the curb available to you and try to maximize your exit as you head down the paddock start-finish straight. Trying to use all the available track to you as you set yourself up for the flowing left-hander of turn number 11 and then the right-hander of turn number 12. Let's see, as a sector 2 time somewhere around the 1:06 as you head through turn 13 and now down the back straight then into the final 2 corners. You want to make sure you get the exit on these absolutely spot on as you head through turn 14 and 15. And now then across the start finish line, it is going to be a 1:31.5 for Daniel Wale. That is a lap of the Bahrain International Circuit.
Yep, that's a very good explanation there, Moran. Johansson goes ahead and takes himself a very comfortable pole at the minute, provisional for qualifying 2, with Franco Gamba outdoing Alfred Klaus in the Renault. And Nielsen as well.
Whoa, that is a very, very good lap from Emil Nilsson as Kai Chereznia goes across the line. There's Wojtek Kulasek in 4th, Mandic in 5th. Klaus has not had the best of laps. But what amazes me at the moment, Jamie, is Chereznia is 300ths off Jesper Johansson. Wow! Johansson doesn't seem to have the best of laps either because Parachki has just gone 4/10 faster than his teammate.
Alfred Klaus really messed that up big time. Dennis Graffer will go ahead across the line, I believe, and he splits Parachki and Johansson. So that's pretty good showing there for the German at least.
Yeah, I think Parachki and Graf are the only ones in the top 3 teams or top 2 teams to have actually set competitive lap times. I think Johansson maybe wasn't pushing as much on that lap, and Klaus must have had a bit of an error on his lap, considering he's a second off his teammates.
Yeah, I must say, Miran, this is going to look for a very, very interesting qualifying 2 at the minute because as the way it stands at the moment, all of these drivers here are very capable of getting themselves into qualifying 3, especially for Victor Album, who's getting himself up into 7th as well. Alpha Class makes a bit of improvement, and so does McIntyre as well.
Yes, indeed. It's going to be very, very interesting to see what is going to happen here, as we have all the 15 times on the board then. And your bottom 5 at the moment is Mandic, followed by Gamba, Farina, Özkan, and Wale. At the moment, Victor Album will make it through into qualifying 3.
Yep, the same thing that we saw with Sassetti trying to get herself into qualifying 2. Now we've got the story of Victor Album. Can he get his ass into qualifying 3? Maybe. We shall see. He's currently holding on to it by 500ths from Kulisek at the minute, but he is doing it quite good for an improvement at the minute. And the good thing with qualifying 2 as well, which will play into Album's favour, is the lack of time that the drivers will have to set competitive lap times. He is going to be heading into pits in this lap, though, so I think he'll be out for one more run later on.
Yes, indeed. We'll see what's going to happen. One thing that does surprise me, though, is the 2 Renaults, Kulisek and Gamba, are out or currently in the elimination zone. Same with the likes of Luca Farina and Farina, and then the 2 Renaults is quite the shocker at the moment.
The thing with Luca Farina is, given that we've seen Ferrari's performances kind of recently, it's a bit not really much of a surprise that Luca Farina is really struggling that Ferrari, though. Franco Gamba, though, he'll go across the line, and that drops Album into the elimination zone.
Yeah, looking a bit better for Gamba then. Victor Album currently is in the pit lane, unless he's going to go out again, I think. Oh yeah, look at this. It's a bit of drama at Renault as Gamba gets past Kulisek. Vojta won't let it slide, though, as he's going to go to the inside line of his teammate, and the 2 Renaults will come wheel to wheel as we head into turn number 4. Gamba's going to be there on the outside line, and this is not the best way to do intra-team relations, as Gamba does get past Vojta Kulisek.
Yeah, it's going to hinder Gamba's time a lot more, and I think that was his final run as well, which may give some hope for Album. Album is only 5 thousandths off of Gamba, so if he could just make that minuscule improvement on his final lap run, then I think we can maybe see that Haas driver get himself into Q3.
Yeah, as I talked about previously, we could have quite a major upset. As Samet Özkan goes across the line, improves, but he stays where he is at the moment. With 2 minutes to go, one AlphaTauri is currently through into Q3, and the other one is in the elimination zone.
Yeah, that's kind of a bit of a surprise, given that both of them are quite similar in regards to their performances. Well, that's not quite true. Some of them have better days than others, so today seems to be Nielsen's more than Özkan's at the minute, as that was Fernando Tosta McIntyre setting improvements as well. But Klaus is still in 8th. That's really surprising.
Yeah, we'll see what is going to happen then as we head into turn number 10. We'll see what Özkan's middle sector is going to be, as the Swede will need an improvement here as we head into turn number 11, as it is going to be a 102.2, so it could be a competitive middle sector. So I think it may be an improvement for the AlphaTauri.
Yeah, it could be as well. It will be definitely the one that Özkan will definitely need to get himself up into there. But behind him as well, Album. No, he's actually going to head to the pits, Özkan.
Oh yeah, that is a bit of a shock, as Özkan's coming in. So I don't really know what the point of that was.
Yeah, Album. Oh dear, there's another fight between them. That's Graf and Johansson.
Yeah, could be. Yeah, no, that is Graf, isn't it? I'm not able to see, but
he's driving the 111, right? Yeah, and Johansson's going to head into the pits. So that might have hindered Graf's lap time for this qualifying session, though, because of the traffic that he had to deal with Johansson. And in the background, there's Alpha Klaus is going to head into the pits as well, and he's not entirely safe either for that Red Bull driver as well. So that's going to be very interesting, though, as the seconds start ticking down to end qualifying 2. A lot of positions to play for.
Indeed, but I do think Klaus will be safe as Tost goes up into third. Very, very good lap for Fernando Tost. The checker flag is now gonna fall. Luca Farina will be trying to at least get one Ferrari through into Q3 as they head through turn 12 and now into turn number 13. We'll see what he's going to be able to pull out of the hat here, so to say, as he heads down the back straight.
Yeah, it could be the first time in a while that we will not see a Ferrari-powered team into Q3, and currently Luca Farina is the only one which has the good chance of getting himself up there as he goes across the line, and it's no improvement. Wow.
Yeah, and for the Ferrari power team's only hope will be this man, Victor Album, as he is going to go across the line. 1:30.9 is his time. He can't do it. And Victor Album, the Q3 dream, is not there for him either way. A fantastic qualifying effort from the man in the Haas.
Daniel Wallin's going to head into the pits, which means that it is confirmation that all of the Ferrari-powered teams will be out of Q2. Well, that Dennis Graf is quite close to Karachki's time. Is it going to be any more improvements for him? It will be for Graf as he gets himself up into pole.
Yeah, good stuff from Graf to go fastest as Kulasek is going to go across the line. He does improve, but he can't do it. And one Renault will be out of Q2 here, as that is Q2 done and dusted then. Dennis Graf leads Enes Parachki here in Q2, as your bottom five will be Victor Albom, followed by Wojtek Kulasek, Luca Farina, Samet Özkan, and then Daniel Wale. So Q2 done and dusted, and I have to say, in the qualifying sessions so far, Jesper Johansson has not been looking to be on the best of pace at the moment.
I think so as well, and I think it's probably because he's got he's in such a comfortable lead now that he doesn't really need to do much in order to maintain it as such. I think he believes that it's way too comfortable, and he's taking it easy though. But I must say, regarding for these first two qualifying sessions that we've had, it's been really, really competitive, I must say, and the midfield is also hunched up that I really can't wait for this race.
Yeah, it is going to be really interesting to see what's going to happen. But looking at the eliminations on as well, I have to say Victor Albom in 11th was fantastic to see from the Dane. It's not quite Q3, but he's kind of a really good shot at getting some points today.
Yeah, absolutely. He hasn't actually scored since Mugello in that race, which he coincidentally finished in 9th. So now he stands a really good chance of getting himself up into the top 10, though. And all it just takes is just one driver error to get that Haas into another point scoring position. And what a way to do it, to score even more than 4 points, which is already very impressive in a team such as Haas.
Yeah, it is going to be really interesting to see what's going to happen, as we are now here for the third and final stage of qualifying. So, yeah, we're going to see what is going to happen. But, yeah, Johansson, I think, I mean, the big question, obviously, considering Mercedes haven't topped a session in Q1 and Q2, which is usually not what we see in qualifying. Usually it's a Mercedes 1-2 all the way through Q1, Q2, and then maybe Q3 is where we could have an upset. But Mercedes, which is quite uncharacteristic, have not topped a single session.
No, it could be the first time in a while that we will not see a Mercedes score pole position. They've been kind of on a run recently, and as well, we mentioned this before we started the stream. So far, Mercedes in the past 3 races has scored the mathematically maximum points that they can available, and it could be under threat here at this first round of the Bahrain Grand Prix.
Yeah, it'll be really interesting to see what happens. And then you got obviously the McLarens of McIntyre, and especially Fernando Tost, are looking really good on pace. So if one of them manages to squeeze out a very good lap, we can see what happens. But Jamie, as Thomas Mandich will start his lap, care to take us through a ride of the Bahrain International Circuit?
We've already done it through qualifying too, but I'm more than happy to do it for this session at least. Down into turn 1 they go. It's going to be a very tight one here. You need to take that Impex line here, and you need to go very wide here to go through and get that good exit for turn 2. Keep it straight inside for turn 3. It's going to be the first of the straights that you use, and it's going to be one of the DRS sections later on in 2 years' time. Down to turn 4 you go. Keep it nice and tight as well. We're going to go for turn 5, 6, and 7, which is taking of a handbook off of Silverstone of Maggots and Beckett's Tilke as admitted. Get it wide and then straight and then all the nice in for a good entry down to turn 8. Turn 8 will be a very important entry as well, as you need to use that wide line for the approach of turn 9 and 10. Turn 10 as well, with the very one of off camber as well. You need to keep it straight and good there for this paddock straightaway. As you whip through the paddock straight, you need to go through a bit wider now, as it's a longer radius of turn 11. Outside of turn 11 as well, another wide exit, and then needs to go from one end to the other as you go for down turn 12, and then keep it mid-track before you brake hard for turn 13. Keep it nice and low, and try not to lock up as well, because you've got the second of the straights to conquer as well. Once you go ahead for the conquer of it, it's only down for the double apexes of the final 2 quarters, turns 14 and 15. This is the one which gives off the perfect grid of runoff down outside to the start-finish straight, which will allow for all that speed to be carried through, which thus completes the lap of the Bahrain International Circuit. And Thomas Magics does a 1 minute 30.8, which is pretty good there for the racing point at the minute, which is really good there for the Croatian.
Yeah, good lap from Thomas Mandic. As Lewis McIntyre, it's a 1:31. He's got a whopping second slower than Thomas Mandic. I think McIntyre must have made an error somewhere on that lap, but that is not what the McLaren needs, and he'll be wanting to go for another lap.
Oh my God.
Alfred Klaus, slower than Thomas Mandic. What's going on?
We have not seen Alfred Klaus break into the 130s in a Red Bull. That is very worrying for the Swede, I must say.
Yeah, Dennis Groff, though, puts things in order as he goes 3/10 faster than Mandic. Emil Nilsson goes across the line, 500ths off Mandic, as Fernando Tost is there as well. He can't get himself into the 130s either. So I don't know what's happening to McLaren at the moment, but we'll see. Ennis Prashka across the line, faster than Dennis Groff by 0.2 of a second just about. So Parashki dethrones the Red Bull driver at the moment, but we are waiting for Jesper Johansson to go across the line. Where is he? He isn't there, but Franco Gamba has actually gone 1,000th faster than Thomas Mandic. There is Jesper Johansson, and he storms onto the timing table as he takes provisional pole away from Ennis Parashki.
Strong showing there from Johansson and from Mercedes as well. Kai Schreschen slots himself down into 7th. But once again, it looks like for qualifying 3, it might be Mercedes' sessions to lose. McIntyre does improve, but it still lasts for 131.3. And Alfred Klaus, 9th still, and still hasn't broken into the 130s, while his teammate has in multiple occasions.
Yes, it is really, really interesting. As Alfred Klaus, only 9th for the Swede. I don't know what is going on with him. Dennis Groff, though, his teammate's going to go across the line. He improves, but he stays in 3rd for the time being. What can Fernando Tost do as he's next across the line? It is 7th for the Polish driver, and that is very, very well done. But what alarms me at the moment is Lewis McIntyre in 10th and Alfred Klaus in P9.
Yeah, well, for Alfred Klaus, it was quite evident that he was quite struggling. But my word, I've never would have imagined to this extent, though, Miran, I must say. But for McIntyre to be in 10th, whenever that McLaren is doing so well for the first 2 qualifying sessions, and to end up all the way down there is very, very alarming. And Fernando Tost as well, who has always been a contender for the top 3 in the first 2 qualifying sessions, and could only manage 7th, is also just equally as alarming, because it may be a facade in regards to that McLaren performance. Maybe they're just trying too hard, that they don't have much left to push upon for qualifying 3, as Kai Tereshny will go in across the line. Will be any more improvements for the pole.
Whoa!
And he gets himself up into 4th. Wow, that's amazing there.
Yeah, great lap from Kai Tereshny. McIntyre can't improve. What is happening with Lewis McIntyre here at Bahrain? As it is just not looking to be McLaren's session whatsoever. We were hyping them up in Q1 and Q2 just for it to fall flat here in Q3. But it just isn't looking good for him at the moment. Franco Gamba in the Renault is P5, so he's salvaging a very...
Passes into the pits. He's not going to prove anymore.
That is a major upset for Red Bull here at Bahrain as Fernando Toscano go across the line, improves, but he stays in P8. Johansson is in the pits as well, so he's not going to defend his pole lap from the likes of Parachki and Graf. As speaking of, Enes Parachki is going to go across the line. He has a championship to fight for now as he goes across the line. Can he improve? No! Parachki will stay in second for the time being.
Yeah, what about Kai Cherezhin as well? He's done a really good to put that racing point up into fourth, and at the looks of it, he maybe still be improving. Maybe he can get himself into the top three, maybe make it a Mercedes-powered 1-2-3, perhaps. And what a way it'll be to announce yourself to the world, especially for the Polish driver. He's going to end up for turn 15 and turn 16 of the final corner. Will it be any improvements for him?
Could be, as even though Red Bull looks strong, this has always been a Mercedes track. As checker flag falls, Cherezhnia can't do it. Either way, a very good effort as Lewis McIntyre comes into the pit lane. It is a performance to forget for him and McLaren here in Q3, as now all eyes will be shifted towards the man in the Red Bull, the number 11, Dennis Graf, who is going to want to improve, as I think there's been a crash. That's Parachki. Parachki has crashed in Q3. Major news for the Macedonian as Graf is in, and that is...
It might have been a yellow flag, maybe.
For Johansson.
Yellow flag. Yep.
Yeah, there's a yellow flag. No one's going to improve. But what happened to Enes Parachki? Can we check that, please? As we're going to see what happened then on the replay. I think it must have been a driver error of some sort. And yeah, look at this. Look up on the curb, spins the car around, and he just stalls it. It's a driver mistake from Enes Parachki. I've never seen the likes of it here in Bahrain during qualifying. But that is going to put Parachki and Graf out of contention. And I think that is going to be it, as we're awaiting confirmation for the checker.
Cherezhnia shouldn't be pretty. I think you already crossed the line already before the checker flag dropped. Unless if he's still going to go at it, which is not quite improving so far. But yeah, this is Parachki's second, I believe it is second crash in qualifying session since Mugello, actually in round 8. So that's quite surprising there that it's the second time it's happened to the Macedonian.
It is really bizarre, but Kai Cherezhnia should be the final man across the line. Let's see if he's going to be able to muster up an improvement then from fourth as he goes across the line, and it's no improvement for Cherezhnia, and that should be it. We're just awaiting confirmation for the checker flag. I think this might be a bit of a timing bug. There it is, and on pole for the 5th consecutive time, Jesper Johansson will be on pole position here at the Bahrain Grand Prix.
Yep, that's a really impressive there for Mercedes. Mercedes have shown they're a true dominant force to be reckoned with as they go ahead and clinch another 1-2 front row lockout here heading into Bahrain. But I must say, that was an amazing qualifying session here.
This is Mercedes' 9th consecutive pole in this season. That is really bizarre.
Yeah, I mean, I must say, whenever you're in with a team that is so dominant in fashion, that it's going to be really hard for anyone else to break that mold. And unfortunately for Dennis Graf, I'm afraid, given Red Bull's currently 3rd and the other drivers all the way down at 9th, it seems to be a very outside chance that they can even clinch the driver's title, let alone the constructors.
Yeah, obviously, Jesper Johansson does have the opportunity to clinch the driver's title here today, but it is quite unrealistic for Johansson to be able to win the championship. Parachki needs to be P9 or lower, with Graf P7 or lower, so it is quite unrealistic. So I wouldn't say this really is the race for Johansson to clinch the title. But I'm just saying it can happen here at Bahrain if things do go wrong for Graf and Parachki.
Well, you can. Well, there is a good chance it might happen because Alfred Klaus being way down and out in a machine or in a team as Red Bull is a bit worrying, because if the same thing might happen to Graf during the race, where he cannot seem to put it up on pace, or along with these other drivers behind him, then he could be all the way down in seventh. And meanwhile, for Enes Pogačar as well, he's kind of had a bit of his confidence has kind of failed a little bit as well, having that crash in qualifying 3. So if he drops any more, then it's definitely going to be very severe. Which in that case, we'll probably see Jesper Johansson clinch the title by that point.
Yes, it is going to be very, very interesting to see what will happen in the championship heading into the race. As I think Racing Point obviously will be looking to extend their lead, but enough about that. We're now here for the Bahrain Grand Prix, and we're here for the starting grid then before lights out, and it is a Mercedes 1-2 as Jesper Johansson takes his 5th consecutive pole ahead of teammate and championship rival now Enes Pogačar in 2nd place. Dennis Graf will be 3rd with Kai Chereshny, a brilliant P4 for the Polish driver, as Franco Gamba starts P5 in a Racing Point sandwich as Tomas Mandic will be in P6. Emil Nilsson will be a brilliant 7th once again for the AlphaTauri, as Fernando Tost is 8th with Alfred Klaus a lowly 9th with Lewis McIntyre then in 11th.
Victor Albon will be P11 for the Haas. And behind him is Kulic to keep him company in P12. Luca Farina can't get that Ferrari into Q3. He'll be in P13. Following behind him is Samet Özcan, the AlphaTauri driver, in P14, with Daniel Valle following behind him in P15. Gio Sassetti could not get that Williams into Q2. Still good performance for her, as she starts in 16th. But behind him, Laban Sečničkaj. It's one of the other times that the Ferrari has got themselves out of Q1. He's in 17th. Jafari Blackwell will be behind him in P18, and following behind Jafari will be Emi Koznitschnia in 19th for Alfa Romeo. And following behind her, and in last place, is Joseph Frederick Suto. The Williams driver will start in P20, and that is the grid for today's race.
Yes, so let's get underway then. Here at Bahrain, Johansson on pole position, 33 laps under the floodlights of Sakir. And we're underway here at Bahrain. It looks to be quite an okay start for Jesper Johansson, but I think Pogačar hasn't got the jump on his teammate heading into turn number 1. Johansson does defend on the outside line, no issues there for him, but there, wheel to wheel, is Graf and Chereshny for P3 in this race. Kai goes to the outside line, but there isn't enough space for him there to do anything, and thus he will have to stay behind. There, though, is Tost and Gamba. Fighting for position as the two go wheel to wheel. 3 wide there at the back. Bit of contact, but it doesn't end in tears for any of them, as Daniel Waller goes down 2 positions. Özcan and Farina side by side then for P13, as he's there on the outside line. Now he's going to have the inside line, Samet Özcan, through turn number 8. They're still going to be wheel to wheel just about then, heading into turn number 10. It should be Özcan later on the brakes. Farina holds it on the inside line as Samet swings it round the outside.
Strong showing there from Özcan as well. That's Alfred Klaus, though. He's all the way down in 10th and tries to make a move in Emil Nilsson. It's been a horror show from... and that's Nilsson going wide, and that was another one behind him also going wide.
Yeah, not the greatest of starts from Alfred Klaus, as Emil Nilsson does defend from the Red Bull sister car. There in the background is Kulasek and Album fighting away for 11th, and Vojta might try his luck at getting Klaus. Is Album going to make it 3 wide to the final corner? He thinks better of it and tries to follow Kulasek through. Kulasek doesn't get the best of runs, though. He's still trying to make it side by side with him, as Album has been distracted by the battle up ahead. Might have to worry about Samet Özcan there, as the two are going to go wheel to wheel. Kulasek is going to try it on Alfred Klaus. He could send the Red Bull out of the points.
He is in very good shape, though, as they're heading down for turn 1, though. He's not got the best of moves, though. That will offer Klaus for just a minuscule of a second now to keep hold of the P10, though. But Alfred Klaus is in real big danger of losing it now, as Kulic is going to go down for the inside of turn 4. Will it work, I wonder?
It could work here as the two are wheel to wheel, then heading into the chicane. It's going to be Kulasek on the inside line, none of them leaving an inch for each other, and Klaus will defend from Vojta Kulasek. There's Album and Özcan fighting away with each other, as Album is going to go round the outside line. Cesetti is fighting Daniel Waller there at the back as well, as Özkan is going to try to go around the outside line. Was there contact between the two? I think there might have been, as the two are going to go wheel to wheel.
Wide there though, and that's Özkan going to have you the inside line. They did actually decline, and I must say, as they're going to head down through near the second sector though, as Alpam cuts Özkan off, and he goes wide as well.
Might that allow Summer to try and make the counter attack on him, or try and make it? No. Not enough. He isn't close enough, as Wale now fights Luca Farina there as well. Daniel tried to fight one Italian, now he's fighting the other, as he's going to go side by side with the Ferrari of Luca Farina round the outside into the final corner. I think he's got the move done. Yes, he does. And Cesetti in the Williams. It is an absolute nightmare for Ferrari, as Cesetti is going to try to get past Luca Farina.
Yeah, it's amazing. He's going to go through the inside of turn one at Farina. Farina's going to lose 2 positions in the matter of a few corners, though, and is going to be going side by side, but not just quite enough. Luca Farina currently holds away from Cesetti. The 2 Italians are going to go at it.
Yeah, Cesetti's going to go to the inside line of Luca Farina. The 2 are going to be wheel to wheel then, heading into turn number 4. Who is going to be able to get this done? It's Cesetti in the Williams versus Farina in the once mighty Ferrari. Cesetti on the inside line is unable to do it, and she's still gonna try it there on the outside line. Labas was having a look on the Williams, but Cesetti is still gonna try to get the move done on Luca Farina there on the inside line. The 2 Italians come to blows, as Farina's there on the outside line. I think there might have been a touch between the 2 as well. Now down the paddock, trying to finish straight, and Sazishkai is gonna make it 3 wide. No, Cesetti with the DRS actually does get past Luca Farina. Great stuff from Cesetti, but Farina's got to come under pressure. He might go down 2 positions, as Laban Zasnishkai is going to go round the outside of his Italian teammate through turns 12 and 13. The 2 go wheel to wheel as they head down the back straight now.
They banged wheels, man. They actually banged wheels heading down the outside of that corner, though, and they're still going to be going side by side, heading down to turns 15 and 16, though. Not one of them are giving it inch. It's going bad to worse there for Luca, I must say, as Lama goes and overtakes his teammate, and he gets himself up to P16.
Yeah, great stuff from the pair. Then here's the 2 McLarens fighting with each other, as McIntyre is trying to get past Fernando Tost. Lewis McIntyre's up 2 positions already from a starting position, is going to make it 3 now as he sails past Fernando Tost heading into turn number 4, as there's Klaus and Nilsson fighting each other. The 2 are going to be side by side then, as Klaus has the inside line through the chicane. The 2 wheel to wheel then, as Nilsson on the outside line still able to hang on to the opportunity. Great battling between the Red Bull and the far less powerful Alpha Tauri. Now then heading into turn number 10. Klaus on the outside line there is going to run a bit wide, and that is going to give Nilsson the opportunity to try and get the position back. Klaus made a very, very big error there, as he's still going to try to hang it on the inside line. He can't do it, and here comes Wojtek Kuratek through turn number 11. He gets it done and sends Alfred Klaus out of points in one fell swoop.
Yep, that was the distraction there from Klaus trying to catch up to Emmy Nilsson, which doesn't do any avail. But Kulisec, meanwhile, is still going to use that slipstream, maybe even catch up to Emmy Nilsson at the minute. But meanwhile, our attention draws up at the front now, as Parachki is now under threat from Graf.
And Kai Shereshkin is at the fast lap of the race. Here comes Dennis Groff then down the inside line of Emis Parachki, as the 2 go wheel to wheel. Groff isn't able to do anything just yet. Yeah, that's quite a shocker. Özkan's at the fast lap of the race, as both of them are going to have DRS then. Groff and Parachki heading into turn number 4.
Yep, they're going to be going side by side now. It's for the S's of turns 5, 6, and 7, though, which is going to be what sets the difference between them, especially for the upcoming turns 8, 9, and 10 for them at least. That will allow for Parachki to at least get some breathing room, at least from Graf at the minute. Meanwhile, attention draws up to the front now as Nishkai. It's close.
Klaus has gone off. He's made a very, very big error. I thought it was Dennis Groff for a moment, but it was Alfred Klaus who's gone down into 13th. What happened to Alfred Klaus as Zasnishkai is now fighting Cesetti? Let's see what happened to the Swede.
Yeah, it's kind of been a bit of an abysmal race there for the Swede. He's just trying to attack Kulisec and tries to go inside. That doesn't come to any avail, and he's just off camera and just seems to have lost it and lost 2 positions in the process.
I think he made contact with
Yeah,
Kulisek,
he
didn't
did.
he? As Zasnishkai does clear Chisetti. There's Groff and Parachki side by side through turn number 12. As Groff is there on the inside line, Parachki on the outside. As the two will now go wheel to wheel, then heading down into turn number 14. Groff is going to have the inside line. Ennis is going to go the long way around then on Dennis Groff, and he
Oh my
gets
God.
it done.
Yeah, and now he's going to be under threat from Kai Treasure as well. I think the Racing Point will probably have will have team orders probably, given that the position that they're in. And yep, here goes Kai Treasure. He's going to use that initiative now. I'm going to use the inside down to turn 1 to try and make a move on Dennis Groff, which doesn't work at the moment.
Yeah, Chereshnia can't do anything either way. And there's what the Racing Boy will fight as Summit Özkan, who set the fastest lap, is going to go into Victor Album. Alfred Klaus is there trying to recuperate his losses, as it really is a race to forget for the Swede, as Özkan is going to go to the inside line of Victor Album. The two going wheel to wheel now, as Özkan side by side through turn number 4. Victor Album picking up the scraps of the battle, as they're now going to be wheel to wheel through the chicane. And Victor Album does defend from Summit Özkan, not before Alfred Klaus swings it around the outside from absolutely nowhere to get back up into P12.
Yeah, he's trying to do the damage control at the moment now by overtaking Özkan, but that was a really good overtake around the outside of the sister team of Red Bull, and he gets himself up into P12, and now Albumlin is in his way for P11.
Fearless overtake from Alfred Klaus, but is that really what he needs? Because I think if he made one mistake trying to go on the offensive, I think he might need to be a bit more careful and pick his lines and battles a bit more strategically, as we're now looking at Tomas Mandic, who is chasing down his teammate Kai Chereznia.
Yeah, in the background as well, you can see another teammate battle maybe boiling up in the minute, with Fernando Toss also chasing Lewis McIntyre. Gamba can be a little bit safe in that regard, so he has his teammate of Kulisic to worry about at the minute as he's weighing down P10. But with the DRS currently at the minute, no one's quite close enough to have a fight at the moment.
Yeah, it'll be really, really interesting to see what is going to happen here, as I have to say the two Pink Panthers, Chereznia and Mandic, are doing fantastically at the moment there, as Blackwood is going to go to the inside line of Luca Farina. He's going to turn his day from bad to worse, as he's going to try to get past the Ferrari 417th. I don't know what's happening with the Scuderia, but their pace just looks dismal at the moment, as Blackwood is going to go to the inside line. Luca tries to put the pressure there on the inside line, trying to squeeze him through turn 4, as now they're going to head through the chicane, and it is going to be Farina who does defend from Jafari Blackwood. Not before bringing Emilia Konichin a bit.
Trying to go and look down the inside, outside of Blackwood, but doesn't quite at the moment. With Joseph Frederick Suto, the Williams is not actually looking very hopeless, actually. They're actually quite capable here. They're not quite certain back markers, and it's nice to see Joseph Frederick Suto along with those two.
Yeah, nice to see that they've been able to... nice to see a bit of battles going on there in the back, as Özkan is still on the back of Alfred Klaus. Klaus, who's stuck behind Victor Album in 11th. So that is quite good to see. Or, well, no, not really for Klaus, but for, I guess, Album it is. As Enes Parashkin now sets the fastest lap of the race. 1.6 is the gap between him and Johansson. Could he finally show signs of catching up to his teammate?
There probably might be a good slimmer of chance, though. That's Album and Klaus now going wheel to wheel now as they head down for turn 1 now. Is he going to be Klaus? Klaus will have enough of the speed to head it down into turn 1. He's managed to do it prematurely before turn 1 on the overtake on Victor Album, and that will allow him to get himself up into 11th.
Yeah. It'll be really, really interesting to see what Klaus is going to be able to do now that he's up into 11th. He's got a 4-second gap to Wojtek Kulisek. A Summit Özkan. I don't know what he was trying there, but he had a late look on the inside line of Victor Album. Maybe try to scare him offline, but it just hasn't resulted in much for Özkan. So I guess he didn't lose much from doing it, as Dennis Groff is now chasing down Enes Parachki for second. But Enes is starting to pull away now.
Yeah, he is. He's actually closing up to Jesper Johansson, and if it may seem like that, with Dennis Groff in the DRS range, he's going to take him with him as well. So we might see a three-way battle for the lead, actually, and Teresian is just outside of the DRS range, so he won't be able to join in that fight for the moment. But Jafari Blackwood, though, over the back of Luca Farina, what an amazing performance that would be to overtake Escudria.
Yeah, it really isn't the day for Ferrari-powered cars here at Bahrain. As Graf is still chasing down Parachki. Blackwood is chasing down Farina here through the final couple of corners. And we'll see what's going to happen. And immediately, Jamie, you can see that the gap between Parachki and Johansson is down to 1.1.
Yep, it's been 5/10 quicker than the previous lap, though. But meanwhile, Jafari Blackwood's going to use the DRS on Luca Farina. Not quite close enough to overtake him at the minute. But I must say, Miran, they've gone downhill ever since you left the team.
Maybe. Yeah. Zasnishkai still trying to make the best of the situation. Farina, though, is just really not enjoying himself right now as there's a crash. And Johansson! Jesper Johansson!
What?
I can't believe it! What's happened? Jesper Johansson for the race lead. He crashed out in what is the most uncharacteristic error ever. Jesper Johansson is out of the Bahrain Grand Prix.
Oh my god, it's the same case with Spain. Has he done the same thing Parachki said? He's done the same thing Parachki said all the time, and he's out!
I can't believe it! In the best moment for Johansson, he is out of the Bahrain Grand Prix! I have no words for that! What drama! Here at Bahrain, Enes Parachki now leads the Bahrain Grand Prix, and this is going to blow the championship wide open as Blackwood spins Farina around. And this is not good at all for Luca Farina. I think he is out. Unless he can try and get it back rolling. I don't think he can, though.
He's moving. He's still moving.
Yeah, he's still going to try to go, but he's got damage to that Ferrari. I'm not sure.
Come on, move, Farina! Come on!
Yeah, he's driving quite slowly. Oh, goodness. Yeah, this might be an issue, but we'll just look away for it and pretend it doesn't exist. Either way, Enes Parachki now leads the Bahrain Grand Prix from Dennis Graf and Kai Tereshnia. The 30-point championship lead for Jesper Johansson. We talked about how we could seal the championship today, and it just hasn't happened. As it stands, the gap in the championship lead is going to be 4 points between Johansson and Parachki. I cannot believe it.
Yeah, and now this fight here between Graf and Parachki is going to be much more than the next person in line for the championship battle. It's going to be who will lead the charge in this battle here. And what a way for Dennis Graf to be the sole soldier of Red Bull to maybe clinch that title if he goes in and overtakes Enes Parachki.
I can't believe my eyes. Johansson making such a mistake like that. I mean, he did it at Spain, but you have to wonder if maybe it wasn't a driver error. Maybe there was something at play there. Maybe some component that failed on the car or something, because it really isn't like Johansson to make a mistake like that. But we did see it catching up Enes Parachki, so maybe Mercedes struggled with that corner. Maybe the brakes on the car are just not up to spec. As we're going to see the battle.
Though they're going to go side by side heading down into turn one.
Yeah, it's going to be Mandic on the inside line, and this is for the first step of the podium between Mandic and Cherezhnia. Things are getting real between the Racing Point teammates now, as Cherezhnia is going to hold off Mandic. Tumas can't quite do anything, but he's going to have the DRS to his advantage, and he's going to go to the inside line into turn number 4. Cherezhnia should have an easy time defending on the outside line, as he does so, and Cherezhnia will hold on to third.
Meanwhile, Ochkan's going to be able to back and use the DRS range on Albom. It's not quite good, though. He's trying to look out for the inside of turn 4. And it's not quite worked out for him, as Ochkan goes overtakes Albom for P11.
Yeah, nice battling there. But, yeah, that lead battle just got so much closer as Graf is now chasing down Enes Parachki still, but Parachki looks to have the advantage, the upper hand over the world champion at the moment. Oh, I just can't believe it. Feels so unreal.
Yeah, Graf, though, meanwhile, I must say that he's doing really well, and I think Teresian is actually quite a bit slow. It's in a matter of a few laps. What used to be a 5/10 gap is now all the way up to 2 seconds between himself and Graf. I think Mandic knows this, and he's trying to make quick work of Kai Teresian if he wants to have a chance of maybe getting P2 or maybe even P1.
Yeah, it'll be really, really interesting to see as Mandic is going to go to the inside line of Kai Teresian once again.
And they're going to be going side by side once again with Teresia just the better of it though. But Dumas Mandic, though, meanwhile, will have the benefit of the second DRS section here as he's going to use that speed and hopefully try and clear Kai heading into turn 4.
Yeah, really, really well done from Tumas Mandic, but I think Kai Teresian is not going to let it go that easily as Laban Zasnishka is now chasing down Daniel Wale. Laban is having a proper charge to the field now as he's going to go to the inside line of the Alfa Romeo. The two are going to go wheel to wheel then as we head into the chicane. Zasnishka can't quite do it as he's gonna be left to defend from Giulia Cesetti in P15.
Yeah, Giulia Cesetti, meanwhile, despite being a P15, she's probably having one of the most noble races she's having in her career so far, challenging the Ferraris consistently. Must be very good there for her.
Yeah, it'll be really, really interesting to see as Graf is chasing down Parachki now. 5/10 the gap between the Red Bull and the Mercedes. I think this is going to be the championship. This is going to be second in the championship for whoever gets it.
Yeah, it definitely is. And could also be a big benefit to them as well. Johansson, I think, currently at the minute, has the fastest lap as it stands at the moment. But it is only still lap 12 out of 33. So we'll see if that will change eventually. Because both Ratchke, Graf, and, well, really anyone in the top 10, really, is capable of setting the fastest lap. I mean, heck, even Oskan at one point set the fastest lap of this race. That just shows you how bonkers this race is. As there's Sejnishka trying to make a move on Wale to no avail, and he still remains in 14th.
Yeah, Laban has been putting a decent amount of pressure on Daniel Wale, so we'll see what. We'll see if he eventually will be able to fight his way past the Chinese drivers. He's having a look on the inside line there, but that's not the smartest of moves for Laban, as this brings Giulia Cesetti closer once again, as we're now looking at Dennis Groff chasing down Enes Parachki through the SS. We'll see what he is going to be able to do then, heading into turn number 1 on the next lap.
Yep, out the X out of turn 14 they go at the minute. He's still quite close to him though. This Gudish is going to have a look down the inside of Emi Nielsen meanwhile as they head down for turn 14 as well. And they're going to be going side by side as what turn 15 and 16 approaches them at the bit, with Nielsen going just a little bit wide, which will probably give Gudish the benefit. He's starting in P10, so he's got himself all the way up into P8 or challenging for P8. It's pretty good for him. And Nielsen meanwhile goes a bit wide though, which will allow for Kulisic to use the DRS now. But Nielsen will have the DRS for the benefit of Tostas. Meanwhile, they're going to be going side by side, heading down into turn 1. At the meanwhile, who's going to have the benefit though? With Nielsen having the outer line, he'll probably have the better speed heading there. But he'll have the DRS section as well. So we'll see. This is a quite close battle we'll see between those two.
Yeah, it is a very, very close battle then for P8 as Kulasek, Nilsson and Tost all involved. So we'll see what is going to happen there as Enes Parachki has actually built up that gap to a second.
Yeah, he has. So I think that was Graf's sole charge of trying to catch up to Parachki, which didn't quite work. So currently, as the meanwhile as it stands, Parachki is so far the leader so far. But I must say that that crash from Johansson has just given me wonders that maybe Mercedes might be have a bit of a struggle with this circuit, maybe.
I mean, this is traditionally a Mercedes track, as Emil Nilsson would like to interrupt me, as he's going to go to the inside line of turn number 12 and 13 to try and get past Fernando Tost. as the two are gonna go wheel to wheel then down the start or the back straight, as it's gonna give Nilsson the inside line. Could Kulasek behind get involved into this battle as the two go wheel to wheel? Tost is gonna be there on the outside. Nilsson will have to settle with staying behind for the time being, as Tost will get the DRS as well, and Nilsson, who's without it, is going to come under pressure from Wojtek Kulasek.
Yeah, he is. Now it's going to go down for the inside of turn 1, though. That's the benefit of the DRS activation zones, more so, just before the final corner of turn 15 and turn 16. Sometimes the battle's there as the way as it stands, though. But Kulasek, meanwhile, is going to have the second of the DRS to use on Nilsson, which Nilsson rightfully defends so and does so very comfortably the meanwhile. But Alpha Klaus, I must say, having a turn of fortunes for him, he might be challenging for P7, I must say.
Yeah. As Shuto and Konishina fight for position, Emilia Konishina is going to be the big loser of that, as Josef Fredrik does get past for 17th at the moment, as Alfred Klaus now sticks his fingers into this battle.
Alright, used to the DRS section though. DRS of Kulasek, meanwhile, is going to try and have a look down for the move. Not quite yet, as I head down through the light S's there, which turns 15 and 16 will soon approach them as one of the prime overtaking opportunities here. Head down for turn 14 they go, meanwhile, with Alfred Klaus so far not quite close enough though. But I must say, Toss and Nilsson are quite close though. But there's Graf. Graf's actually caught up to Prachki. He's going to use the DRS section here. This is the battle for second place in the championship now. Who's going to end up the prevailer here?
And Parachki very, very late on the brakes on the outside line. That was beautiful defense from Enis Parachki as he defends the race lead from Dennis Graf. As Dennis will have the DRS though. He's gonna go once again to the inside line, now into turn number 4, as the two go wheel to wheel for the race lead here at Bahrain. As it's gonna be Graf on the inside line, and he's gonna be compromised there, as Enis Parachki will hold the lead of the Bahrain Grand Prix. Beautifully defended though from Enis Parachki.
Pure jewel of the desert moment here in the Bahrain Grand Prix, though, and I must say Graf is not actually wavered by that failed attempt of Parachki, though, and he's still over the back of him now, which means that this battle will guarantee for the next lap at least, as he's going to use the DRS section to get himself even closer to Enis Parachki. It's the Macedonian versus the German here, all for the second place of the championship, though, and as they no moves quite yet from Dennis Graf, though, but he's still in a good position to make another move in the next lap.
I should mind you, Jamie, the battles between Parachki and Graf is bringing Tomas Mandic closer in, and considering Cherezhnia is in DRS, he's being pulled with him. So, if things like this continue, we could have the two Racing Points starting to contend for the race lead.
Thanks for making me dream, Miran, I must say. Very nice of you.
But it's a possibility. Not too far-fetched, I would have to say, as Graf now is gonna go to the inside line of Enis Parachki. The two will come to blows once again, as Parachki is gonna defend the outside line through turns 2 and 3, and Dennis can't quite do it now.
Yeah, you're right, actually. Mandic has actually managed to catch up in a matter of 4 tenths just from that one corner there, as that was Gamba and McIntyre going wheel to wheel there, and with Gamba now still being under threat from McIntyre, though, that's Albon trying to overtake Oshka, and he does so very successfully right before down turn 1, and that's very good there from the Haas driver. He gets us up into 11th once again, but Oshka still trying to use the DRS to try and catch him up, though.
Yeah, it's gonna be really, really interesting to see what is gonna happen here, as there goes Emilia Konishina, gets herself ahead of Josef Fredrik Schuto, as now we're looking at the race lead once again. Dennis Graf in the DRS of Enis Parachki heading into turn number 11. He's just trying to find the one little opportunity to try and get past the Macedonian.
He really is, and Parachki knows this and is trying to be as defensive as they possibly can at the minute. But as it stands, though, Graf is still just behind the Macedonia at the minute, and it may be like that for a good while. But Mandic, meanwhile, he's going to be looking back with glee in his eyes the moment that Parachki continuously defends from Dennis Graf, as there's going to be another DRS section out here. We'll have 17 out of 33 at the minute, and he's going to try and look down for the inside line. He does so once again without the DRS, though, as they head down for turn 1 with Parachki going wide, and once again he defends from Dennis Graf to maintain P1 and P2 respectively.
Yeah, good stuff from Enes Parachki. His defense has been nothing short of brilliant in these past few laps from Dennis Graf. As Nilsson gets past Fernando Tost into turn number 1. There's Klaus and Kulasek fighting with each other. Wojtek Kulasek does defend from Alfred Klaus heading into turn number 3.
Yeah, Klaus will have the DRS though, and is he going to try and make any closer to Kulisek? He does so, but it's not quite close enough to make an overtake at the moment. Still P10 for Alfred Klaus though. But look, you can see in the background though, all this fight is actually bringing Mandic closer. It is still minuscule in comparison to the last time, but it is still improvement nonetheless for Mandic. And you're absolutely right, they can be roped in into this lead battle.
It'll be very, very interesting to see what will happen as Kulasek still chasing Fernando Tost. These two have been going at it for quite a while now, and Wojtek Kulasek, who started outside the points, it's a pretty good race he's having right now, as he is fighting for P8 and P7 even with Nilsson, but Nilsson is actually beginning to pull away from Tost and McLaren.
Yeah, he slowly is as well. This battle's been so fierce that the gap between them and McIntyre next ahead of them is 5 seconds. That was a very fierce battle that all of them have must had. With all the fighting that they've been produced, it's like gained such a deficit between those two. Not quite the one between Gamba and Cherezny as well, with the benefit Racing Point has had from the Bahrain Grand Prix. They look very much unchallenged though, as Kulisek is going to use the DRS and so will Tost in the proximity to Nilsson though. But we've got Klaus meanwhile behind him to pick up the scraps as always, with Fernando Tost going wide as usual, and here they go, right for the lead, side by side.
Yeah, and that's going to be Graf on the inside line. Contact between the two, as Graf is going to have to back off. No, he's still side by side with him just about, as he's late on the race. That could have ended in tears for the pair of them, but it is going to be Parachki who remains ahead of Dennis Graf. Oh my goodness.
And look, all of this has happened, and that contact has allowed Mandic to get into the DRS section as well. So this will mean that Racing Point will be in the lead, will be in the chance to take the league battle at the minute. But my word, Graf and Parachki with that contact and still not unwavering either of them just shows how much this battle means to them.
It really does, and this is what you want to see in the ACOC. Just pure, unfiltered action for the championship. And I have to say, it is absolutely thrilling. As we're now going to head through the final couple of corners to start lap 20 out of 33. 13 laps remain in this Bahrain Grand Prix, and we've got plenty more action for you guys. So make sure to not go anywhere, as Graf is going to go to the inside line. Parachki again.
Yep, is he going to do it prematurely though? Parachki meanwhile knows he has to go wide and defends from Dennis Graf once again and cuts him off, and Mandic now is ever so more closer though. That was Gamba and McIntyre meanwhile, their training positions for P5 and 6, and Vale and Sassetti as well. But meanwhile Graf is trying to use the DRS, tries to head down for turn 4. He does so, but it doesn't quite work. There is Alfred Klaus trying to make the move inside of Kulisek, which doesn't work, but Oshkan and Albon meanwhile they trade positions as well, which promotes Oshkan back up into 11th once again.
Yeah, good stuff from Samet Özkan then. As we're looking at Fernando Tost, he's actually closed back into Emil Nilsson, so Nilsson might have to back off for a bit there. Tost getting a bit on the curb. That's gonna nullify the gains that he's made on the Estonian, so Tost will stay where he is at the moment.
Currently is the minute, and Klaus meanwhile, but despite having a much more superior car than Kulisek, he still can't find a way to easily pass the Czech driver of Kulisek at the minute, and it's a bit worrying there for Klaus. But Graf meanwhile, he has the chances of improving the hopes of Red Bull, at least in the paddock today, if he manages to make that overtaking Parachki, which isn't quite happening at the moment because Parachki is slowly pulling away from Dennis Graf, I must say.
Yeah, and now Mandic is within DRS range of both these guys, and Cherezny is there behind as well. He just fell out of a second, but he could try and pull himself along with Mandic, as Graf is now going to go to the of Enes Parachki. Parachki though has an easy time defending on the outside line through turns 2 and 3. Graf is going to have to stay behind, and this brings Tomas Mandic so much closer.
Yep, all of that patience there from the Racing Point has eventually paid off with the little amount of battles that the Racing Point has. both of them are going to be rewarded with potentially both steps of the podium if Dennis Gross falls behind. There's Labin Sosnishka, he's going to continue up his improvements as he's going to look down for the inside of Victor Albon to no avail at the minute, but Albon is still a bit in trouble. It's the Ferrari engine versus the Ferrari engine. Meanwhile, both of them have the DRS section heading down into turn 4.
As Sosnishka is going to want to get it done. He's continuing his charge up the field, and I have to say, it's been nothing short of fantastic from Laban Sosnishka as he's going to get it loose. And he's going to have to stay in 13th for the time being. There's Giuseppe, who was fighting with Daniel Wall, I do believe, as Wojtek Kulesek and Alfred Klaus are going to go at it. Klaus round the outside, bit of wheel banging between the two, and Klaus is going to go on to the runoff, and that's going to compromise him a bit on exit, as Kulesek is going to be able to retaliate on the Red Bull.
Yeah, he's not actually, and that just allows Klaus to go a bit wide though. Kulesek just trying to any trick on the brick he can on Alfred Klaus at the minute, and he's still over the back of him, trying to use the exit of there. Down turn 14 they go, and it's not going to do anything for Kulesek as Alfred Klaus finally disposes of Kulesek and gets himself up into 9th.
And Enis Paratsky on that previous lap of Dennis Groff was actually lapping a 10th faster than the Red Bull. So I think you might be right, Jamie. I think Paratsky is finally starting to get put away. But the problem is, Groff with the DRS just isn't able to leave him alone.
Yeah, as well. But Mandic as well, who's got the DRS as well, is slowly pulling in. And the more times that Groff tries to make an attempt at Paratsky that fails, the closer that Mandic will get to Dennis Groff. And Kai Chiranshin is kind of taking a backseat currently at the minute because he's still outside of DRS range of Mandic, so maybe he's not pushing as aggressive as he wants to at the minute.
Yeah, it's really, really interesting as Giulia Cesetti is chasing down Daniel Wale for 14th. She's going to try it, though, into the chicane. Nothing coming out of that, though, as she's going to have to stay behind for 15th.
Yeah, I must say Cesetti has been very, very good in terms of her attacking at the minute, and it's really, really good to see her consistently fighting at the meanwhile. Meanwhile, up on the front, though, Dennis Groff is still the back of Paratsky at the minute. With the use of the slipstream, hopefully he might be able to close up a bit to the Macedonian. Doesn't use a bit of the slipstream out of the exit before turn 15 and 16 at the minute. 14 and 15. And as currently as it stands, Paratsky still holds a comfortable lead. But look at this, it's 8/10 now.
Yeah, Groff is falling away. This is big news for Dennis Groff, but Enis Paratsky just has to continue this pace, and then he will be in the race lead.
Yeah, meanwhile up in the front, it's Gamba versus McIntyre here for the position of better of the rest, excluding Racing Point, though, with McIntyre going defensive down into turn 1. With the way that McLaren has been doing for qualifying 1 and qualifying 2, we thought they'll be in the place of the Racing Points. But alas, they're the ones challenging for Renault, which will produce another exciting battle to witness here. And I must say, with the way that Renault are placed at the minute in points, they're going to outscore Ferrari.
Yeah, that is incredible. Racing Point with this result, I think at the moment will probably seal P3 in the championship. As here goes Emilia Konishina down the inside line of Blackwood, but she can't quite do it. And she's going to have to stay behind for the time being and maybe face pressure from Josef Frederic Schuto once again.
Yeah, Josef Frederic Schuto as well. On top of that as well, always battling with Emilia is always a good sight to behold as well for him. But meanwhile, up at the front, Alfred Klaus is still trying to have a look on Tost at the moment, but still to no avail at the minute for him. He is making small gains on him, as much as the Red Bull has, and it could be good signs for him at least.
Yeah, as Franco Gamba is now trying to fight Lewis McIntyre. This is a battle we haven't focused on, and it's just brewing. But Gamba is going to want to get 5th on the McLaren, and Klaus is going to want to get 8th from the McLaren, as he's going to go side by side with Fernando Tost.
Down into turn 1 they go. It's going to be the Pole versus the Swede. A nation's tale as old as time here in ACOC as they're going to go wheel to no avail. But Klaus with the DRS, though, is going to look down for the outside. Now down into the inside as they're going to be approaching down turn 4 at great speeds. There's McIntyre and Gamba going wheel to wheel heading down. Gamba, that's Gamba, not Gamba!
Major off for Franco Gamba. Is he able to make it back onto the track? I think he might have, but he's kind of lost himself here.
Oh, out!
He's out. He's out of the Bahrain Grand Prix. Franco Gamba is out. That is a massive shame for the Italian, and he will be the second DNFer in the Bahrain GP as Klaus runs wide, and Lewis McIntyre will be breathing a sigh of relief. But what happened there?
Yeah, I think it might have been light contact between McIntyre and Gamba.
Oh wait, Gamba isn't out. Gamba isn't out. He's continuing. But he's all the way down in P15. But he's all the way down in P15. Renault only have one man in the points now, and he is fighting off Alfred Klaus as best as he can, as he's just using all the available track to him to fight Alfred Klaus. And I think he's actually succeeded with the defense heading down to the final corner.
I must say, Marin, surprisingly, the way it's still happening at the minute, Renault will still outscore Ferrari in the constructors if Kosec finishes here.
I wonder if we could get a replay on
McIntyre and Gamba having that.
Yeah, if we could get that, it would be nice. Thank you to our cameraman. But this is what happened between Gamba and McIntyre then. So the chicane is, I mean, it really, I mean, you do have to be quite daring to go side by side to there, and usually that's where we see most battles on the track end, because there just isn't enough space. But this was Gamba heading into turn 4. He has the DRS, goes to the inside line of McIntyre. The two are going to be wheel to wheel to turn number 4, and now through the chicane. And what happens here? And yeah, Gamba just should have backed out of that, to be honest. So I feel like that might be on Franco, unfortunately.
Yeah, it kind of is. I would have said it was a racing incident, but there's no way that the way that McIntyre has gone into the entry of that corner, that Gamba could ever thought that he would give the space at the minute. So I'm afraid it is on the Italian, unfortunately. But I would also consider a racing incident as well in my books.
I guess you could call it a racing incident. As Cesetti is fending off Daniel Wale, Dennis Groff is on the offense once again, Jamie.
Yes, he is, and it's actually closer than it's ever been before now. And what a way to do it in the closing stages of this race as well. We've only got so many amount of laps left to go, and still Mantic is still challenging over for that battle lace, or is still in the DRS range though. But with the amount of cars that there is, maybe this fight here may end up bad for either of them.
Yeah, this is going to be really, really interesting to see what is going to happen, as Dennis Groff is now going to be in the DRS. He's going to have a prime opportunity to strike on the Macedonian in the Mercedes.
He certainly is, and with the two pink Mercedes behind him as well, he's definitely not going to be one for the long. So we know he has to do it as quickly as he can, though. Down into turn 1, he knows he's not going to make any. He's not quite close enough to Parachki to make the move stick, and he knows that for sure. So it's going to stick behind him. And with the DRS now heading out of turn 3, and now it's going to be down to turn 4. It's going to be going side by side now. Down turn 4 they go, and it's similar to Gamba and McIntyre.
Hopefully it won't end the same though as they go through the chicane. It's going to be Groff on the inside line. He has to back out of it, and I think that's going to be the smart move for Dennis Groff if they want to avoid a repeat of that situation. But this has brought Tomas Mandic so much closer to these guys. Cherezhnia though is not there. He's following these guys.
Oh no, that's Graf. Graf that just locked up before turn 10.
That's going to cost him a bit, but Mandic is just going to be licking his lips at the opportunity to try and get past a Red Bull for second place, as that is Blackwood and Konichina fighting each other, and it's going to be Jafari who does get past Emilia for 16th there. Yeah,
it certainly is. Graf is going to go on the exit of turn 13 now. No DRS in this straight though, but the DRS of the start-finish straight is what awaits him to get himself even closer to Ennis at the moment, as Kulisic, Klaus and Tosh will be in that midst of that battle for P7 still. And here we go, Dennis Graf once again with the DRS range. And I must say, Parachka is having the drive of his life in regards to how hard he's defending from him.
And yeah, he's gonna come under defense once again, as Dennis Groff's gonna go to the inside line. Parachka tries to take the widest line possible to be able to defend, and he does so. And this is gonna see Dennis Groff holding his second place, but it could allow Thomas Manders to go into this battle. Is Groff going to try anything into turn number 4? No, he does not.
No, meanwhile, our attention draws later back. Those Kulisic and Tost are going to go side by side, heading down into turn 1 though. And Kulisic comes up a little bit of the worst of it though, as Tost gets ahead and gets the lead that he needs. But they're both going to have the DRS range for Kulisic and Klaus though to make the move on Tost. And it's going to be going side by side, heading down into turn 4.
What an incredible Bahrain Grand Prix we've been having so far, as
no.
Kulisic will be able to get Fernando Tost as they go side by side through there. Kulisic will have to back out of it. No, not quite. He's still going to be wheel to wheel with him through turn number 8, as the two will go side by side heading out of the corner. And now then into turn number 10, Kulisic's going to try to swing around the outside. Careful not to go onto the runoff then, as they bang wheels, and that's going to force Kulisic off. But at the moment, he's going to get the DRS, as they will be 3 wide heading into turn number 11, as Klaus will get involved into this, as they're going to make contact, and it's going to spin around, and he's going to go off the track. He makes it back onto it though, but that's going to send Fernando Tost into P9, and the Polish driver will not be happy about that in the slightest.
No, and meanwhile, this battle here is for the final point scoring position here, and Albon is in a chance to get his first Haas points, as Munez, I just say that Sazniczka is going to go inside down into turn 14 and 15 and take 11th from Albon.
He's going to be there on the inside line. Victor Albon's going to hold the outside though, as he does get past Laban Sazniczka. Great battles in the midfield, as now the battle for 7th is going to be between Klaus and Kulisic. These two have been battling the entire race.
Albon is going to defend absolutely amazingly from Sazniczka to keep hold of 11th though. He's holding into that position like a baby at the minute for Albon, and they're both going to have the DRS section though. Maybe up in the front though, that's Kulisic and Klaus still going wheel to wheel. I must say, Klaus, who was all the way down 12th, to manage to get himself back up has done good. And meanwhile, that's Sazniczka finally making the move on Albon, but Albon is still holding into P11 though, and displaces those Sazniczka. That's an amazing overtake there from the Haas driver, but they're still going to be going down into turn 8 at the minute. But Sazniczka, I think, has a bit of better speed as they head through turns 9 and 10, Marat.
What an incredible defending work from Victor Albon. The question is, how long can he do it, as Laban Sazniczka is there on the outside line. Will he get the DRS? I don't think so. I think Albon has it. Yeah, look at this. He is ahead of Laban Sazniczka. Laban's still going to try to attempt a move into turn number 11, as Victor Albon will have it covered. And he does defend it. Fantastic stuff from the Haas driver.
Yeah, it certainly is. I must say, Albon is having one of the drives of his life at the minute, even though despite not scoring any points, he's consistently fighting with cars which have better dynamics and better engines than he has. And the fact that he's still holding down into P11 at the minute, and all it takes is just one other retirement or mistake for him to get himself up into the points.
Yeah, as we're now looking at Alfred Klaus, Kulisic is going to push him all the way as we head into turn number 1. As Kulisic's going to go around the outside line of Alfred Klaus, and I think he is actually able to defend. He has defended from Wojtek Kulisic. Fantastic battle between these two, as Wojtek is going absolutely all out to defend from the Red Bull, and I have to say he's been doing an incredible job so far.
Yep, they're going to go wheel to wheel though, heading down for turns 5, 6, and 7 at the minute.
Oh no!
And then Klaus out. The Klaus is out in the gravel trap, and that will allow for... Yeah, he's down to 12, and he's still dropping. Can he get himself back on the track like Gamba?
Is he going to be able to get back on track? He stopped. He stalled it. Alfred Klaus is out of the Bahrain Grand Prix. No, not quite. As I think he's going to be able to make it back onto the circuit. And he has, but he's going to rejoin all the way down in 15th. It is disaster for Alfred Klaus, as he is going to be down in 15th. This is not what Red Bull needed in Constructors' fight against Mercedes. As he's going to do it. He's going to go to the inside line of Dennis Groff. Thomas Mandic is going to try to get second away, as he's going to try to get the man who replaced him as Red Bull, and trying to get some revenge here into turn number 4. They will go. Mandic's going to be there on the inside line, as the two will go wheel to wheel. Hopefully this won't end in tears as well, as Mandic is there on the inside line, and he's going to have to back off from the move.
Yeah, meanwhile, Album is so far going to be into his first points in so many races, and he's going to fend off Labin's Niche guy for that position as well. Oh my word, this is a fierce battle between these two.
Yeah, these two are having an absolutely incredible battle. Zasnishka just ahead with the DRS. Can Album retaliate to turn number 4? No, he cannot, as they will stay where they are. Wale and Chassetti are fighting each other as well. As they're going to be wheel to wheel then through the chicane. Wale on the inside line is going to have to back off as Chassetti gets the move done on Daniel Wale. Not quite, as he's going to be there on the inside line of Giulia Chassetti. But I think the Italian should be able to get past into 9th and 10.
Yeah, very good defending there from Sassetti. All battles all the way throughout for the entire grid. This is exactly what we in ACOCs like to call it an ACOC classic. And what you're looking at here, ladies and gentlemen, is by far one of the best classics that we've had to offer.
Indeed, as Mandic is now 1.1 behind Dennis Graf. So I think Thomas is just waiting for Dennis to kick up the pace and try and fight a bit more with Dennis Parashki so he can get closer. But at the moment, we're looking at Samet Özkan chasing down Fernando Tost and Victor Album chasing down Laban Zasnishkai.
Yeah, Album, I must say, is really, really good, and he's still not done with fighting with the Serbian ahead of him. And this fight could easily go on for another more laps, but unfortunately there has to be one that crosses the line first, and that will be in the final lap of lap 33.
Yeah, it is gonna be really, really exciting to see what these last two laps will have in store for us. As Samet Özkan is chasing down there, we're going to see a Daniel Wale goes to the inside of Giulia Chassetti. These two have fought all race now. They're going to come to blows once again.
Oh.
Daniel Wale there on the inside line. Can't quite do it, and he will have to stay in 13th.
Yeah, he hoarded all the inside line there, and that's not going to end up good for him, as our attention now draws back down to another Williams, that was Joshua Frederick Sito, who was all the way down in, P18, which is what's quite good. He's still challenging for Blackwood and Kozicia all throughout the race, but Luca Farina, I must say, is still 28 seconds.
Yes, indeed. Luca Farina just really is a day to forget for the Ferrari man, as Samet Özkan will be chasing down Fernando Tost now for P8 once again in this race.
Yep, and it's going to be going right through the final corner of 15 at the minute. Still no moves yet. Oh no, Özkan's going to do it a bit earlier now, and he's going to do it and tries to get enough speed to make it work before turn 1. Will it work, I wonder? It does work, but Özkan, and
he's got it done.
Oh, is Tost going to retaliate? He does retaliate a bit, but not quite enough. Doesn't have enough quite of the gap to do it. Özkan gets himself up into P8.
Yeah, very, very well done from Samet Özkan. Good move, even though he got it done before the corner. It's going to be the Alpha Tauri up another position. Currently, they are P6 and P8.
Yeah, I must say that's really impressive there, considering that we didn't consider Alpha Tauris to be even, P5 contenders. And at the minute, as it stands, it looks to be very strong showings for them. I mean, Emil Nielsen, he started in 7th, but Özkan was all the way down to 14th, and the fact that he's managed to get in so many positions is incredibly impressive.
Yeah, it really is. We've had a lot of charges through the field. I have to say, Laban Zasnishkai from P17 to P10 is just nothing short of fantastic from the Serbian. We thought Ferrari would come home empty-handed here at Bahrain, but I have to say, Laban has pulled up an absolutely fantastic performance here at Bahrain, but he's obviously still got Victor Album to worry about.
Yeah, I mean, Album is another one of these notable drivers that would probably deserve final driver of the day. As we head down to the final lap now, Parashki is on the first sector now as we speak, and that will be it. So we'll still see if there's going to be any more battles heading in here into the final lap.
It's going to be very, very interesting to see what is going to happen as Album now chases down Zasnishkai out of turn number 3. I don't think he is close enough just yet. And don't see any other battles forming at the moment, so I think we can just...
It's on Blackwood, but that's not quite close enough, though. It's still 6 tenths off. Graf, meanwhile,
could
has
be.
finally catch up to Parachki, though, but alas, it will not be to challenge for the lead anymore again. Parachki's
And I
going to
have...
head down on the final
Yeah.
sector, and he does so very comfortably, I must say.
Have to say, one of the most hard-fought wins in his career, but he is gonna do it as the championship fire is rekindled. Enes Parachki will win the Bahrain. What a drive from Parachki, and Tomas Mandic will be back on the podium as he finishes P3 once again for Racing Point. What a drive from the two Racing Points as they finish P3 and P4. What a race! What a race!
Absolutely incredible, I must say. McIntyre goes and claims home P5. Nielsen will be happy with a P6. Kulishevs is the only Renault driver to score points, followed by Oftgan and P8 to make it a Scuderia Ferrari double points finish. Fernando Toss, meanwhile, will also claim the sole McLaren driver will score points, and followed by Sesnichka, who fends off Albon to claim Ferrari's only point this event.
Yeah, very, very well done from Laban Zasnishka, and I have to say Victor Album as well. I think he deserved the points equally as much as Laban did. As Alfred Klaus is gonna come home a disappointing P15. This is actually the first time he's finished outside the top 10 this season.
Yeah, it's quite shocking there for him, but there's not much that you can do. That the fact that he's given a good car, but the problem is it's just that collision with another competitor that's just ended it up down in P15. So very unfortunate for Alfred. Luca Farina, who was very, very close to being lapped, will be the final driver to cross the finish line.
Yep, as that will be it then. And going through the final results then, Enes Parachki will win the Bahrain Grand Prix, but Dennis Groff in P2 will get the fastest lap. Then it will be Tomas Mandic, a brilliant P3, and his teammate Kai Tresnia just behind him in P4. A very, very good day in the office for Racing Point. As Lewis McIntyre will finish a very good P5 from P10 on the grid. Then it will be Emil Nilsson in 6th, with Kulasek in 7th and Özkan in 8th. Fernando Toss will be 9th, with Laban Zasnishka from 17th on the grid to finish P10.
Victor Albon will be P11, good showing for him. Sassetti in 12 as well, another good showing for her as well. Daniel Valley following behind them, P13. 14 is Franco Gamba, and 15th will be Alfred Klaus, disappointing for him. And Emilia Kaznici will be in 16th, followed by Blackwood in 17th. Josha Frederick Schuto in 18th, and following behind him is Farina in 19th. Jesper Hansen was your only retirement of the race, and that is the first round of the Bahrain Grand Prix.
Yes, that is it for the first of the Bahrain doubleheader. Thank you so much for watching. Before we will go, though, it's time to answer a very, very difficult question, Jamie, of driver of the day. And personally, I will give it to Laban Zasnishka because in a weekend that looked so incredibly dismal for Ferrari, to be able to claw your way up the order from 17th, make a lot of overtakes, fight with so many different people to secure, I'd say, one of the most hard-fought P10s I've ever seen. I think it's a really, really impressive performance from Laban Zasnishka to continue his point streak. So my drive of the day, it will be Laban Zasnishka.
Yep, very good. I can understand why he's done very good. My drive of the day will give it to Enes Parachki because of the way that he's fought so hard in defending from Dennis Graf throughout the entire race almost. And with amazing defending maneuvers, he gets my drive of the day. Although I'll give my props to Victor Albon as well for being up there in P11 to challenge for Ferrari and among others as well. But so that's why he gets my drive of the day, Parachki.
All right, well, time to wrap this up. Thanks so much for watching the Formula One Bahrain Grand Prix. We will see you next week for the, or we will see you tomorrow, actually, sorry, for the Super Formula One at Watkins Glen. And then we will see you next week for the Sakir Grand Prix. Thanks so much for watching. I have been Miran.
And I'm Jamie.
Thanks so much for watching. We will see you when the Aces return.